So I suppose I've done a bit of digging around, obviously reading back through your emails kind of aligns with what I've been finding out around the options, really. So where we are at, we're currently in conversations and meetings with the US Antarctic program around basically medevac support out of New Zealand, or from Christchurch to and from in our Challenger jet. And that's a slow and painful process, as I'm sure you can appreciate, working through that with approvals and all the things. That's not happening overnight. One conversation around that has been raised is the approvals that we're working through with USAP and NSF is for medical evacuation flights. So I think the challenge we would face is probably twofold. That would be the approval that we would be getting to land. You can't just land any plane down on the ice. That would be the approval, and then probably a little bit just a commercial reality for us with that relationship still in its infancy, for lack of a better term, and it's still. I think we would be hard pressed to go to the US program and go, look, we're not quite sorted with medevac work yet, and that's what we're working on. But by the way, we'd like to come down on a private expedition. I think that probably would be too much or a step too far right at this point in time, from the jet charter option down to Ross Island.
So for me right now, I'm still, I'm communicating with the U.S. Department of State about, because what their main thing right now is they want me to figure out exactly who the, providers are going to be
Of course.
So that's as far as me formally formalizing my DS 4131 advanced notification form, I need to, finalize the actual logistics providers and figure out, I've got these, all the paperwork pretty much laid out for, insurance and proof that this is not just something I'm imagining, but it's something that's actually on paper and, financed properly and, pretty much signed on, I think, effectively.
Sure.
So that's what it pretty much is looking like at this moment. So, I mean, if there's anything like GCH or anybody that as well that could help with this, I mean, that's really what I'm trying to figure out right now.
So the next thing that I started working into was, by the sound of it, so I've got fortunate enough to have a couple of contacts at Antarctic New Zealand, and they said, look, private expeditions happen all the time, right? Fine. The way they did say they generally get in and out is obviously something out of South America coming across. The rules and regulation, generally a bit more fluid, and there's some options there for charter aircraft and different bits and pieces. But to operate out of McMurdo, being Willie's Field or Phoenix, is approval of the US program, which gets a little bit niggly. They basically said the easiest way or most common way is by chartering a vessel to a ship to go down, or joining up with a ship that is already chartered to go down to the ice during the season, and that being the path of least resistance, basically.
So an icebreaker vessel?
No, not specifically. So there are options there at that time of the year to get down there, and obviously the Ross ice shelf breaks up normally through those summer months. So those vessels can get a long way in, if not all the way in, and then basically either stage yourself from that ship, and that ship having a helicopter on it, then provides transport to and from the continent daily, or one drop off, one pick up at the end of the expedition or something, and then that ship travels back to Littleton with you and your team on board that. That seemed to be from, as I said, friends at the New Zealand Antarctic program, that seemed to be the easiest or most logical way they saw to try and make that happen.
Because an actual private jet type of situation is a bit more difficult or more costly or harder to get.
I'd have to figure like costly wise is hard to say, right? I can certainly, work into a ballpark figure about what a private jet charter would cost. But I think the problem that we'll face there is getting approval from USAP to land. And then there's another layer to that, basically under civil aviation rules. That's another part of our application process we're working through with the US program at the moment, is that needs to be approved by the New Zealand civil aviation regulation side of things. And it's kind of like your challenge you've got at the moment. We can't get approval from the Civil Aviation Authority without the approval from the US program. Like they kind of need to come together. So if we applied now with the New Zealand Civil Aviation Organisation, they would say, well, where's your approval to land at Phoenix Airfield? And we don't have that approval to land at Phoenix Airfield because we're still working through that with the US program. I think and as far as I'm aware, there isn't really anyone in New Zealand that privately operates down to the ice from a jet transfer point of view. It's the US program, the Kiwi program, and the Aussies go down there occasionally, but it's all military aircraft that going to and from.
From my kind of general understanding, like I've seen the C-17s and stuff like that that they use for the national programs and stuff like that out of Christchurch, and it's a pretty much like it looks like a pretty large like military style aircraft. And I understand like maybe when you cross a certain point, like the southern jet stream or something like this, it can be quite intense, and you need a pretty resilient type of aircraft to withstand the type of winds or turbulent conditions that are, experienced there. So is that another element to the?
Not really. No, so the US currently operate a global, sorry, not a global, the Challenger that we operate, the US FAA, the Federal Aviation Authority of America, they operate the exact same jet and take it down there every year to test fly all the what we call the instrument approaches into all the airfields, South Pole, Phoenix, Willie, all of the airfields that the US program operate down there. They go down there every year in the exact same jet and test fly them all and basically certify them for operation. So in principle, there is like, forgetting about being Antarctica and the treaty and all of those challenges with how that structure of the continent is, there is technically nothing stopping us flying our jet down there tomorrow if the weather is favorable, landing on the a little bit of internal sort of policy and procedure around landing on the ice runway, but fine. No problems. Like from a safety, there's obviously no-go decision points in that around weather and things. Like it does need to be reasonable weather conditions down there. McMurdo provide great weather reporting systems and all the rest of it. I was fortunate enough to be down there last year, so I got a great opportunity to go and see all of that. So in principle, no problems. We could jump in the jet tomorrow and fly down there and land. The challenge is that approval, basically. And from the conversations, from what I understand, it's going to be pretty hard to get that approval for a private expedition. We're chartering a vessel down there. We don't need that same, like you still need your system you're going through, but we don't need approval to park a ship in the bay somewhere, right? That's you can just do that. Yes.
So most likely the logistical solution is going to be shipped to Ross Island from New Zealand.
Well, if you're going to the dry valleys, do you need to be going to like Ross Island is obviously in McMurdo Sound there. If you're going to the dry valleys, my thought process would be taking the ship to as near the dry valleys as practical, and then going almost nowhere near Ross Island, right? You'd probably be staying well on the latitude, well north of Ross Island, and further north in McMurdo Sound, and then operating to and from that ship.
Right, because it would be across from the Ross Sea. So the vessel can pretty much get it's pretty much like a bit north by northwest of Ross Island, pretty much something like that.
Correct.
Yeah. So
that
would be
and that seemed to be the as I said, talking about a few friends there, that seemed to be the path of least resistance, or the most logical thing to do. They would say, either tying in with an existing vessel that's heading down there at that, and which we can probably find some names and stuff around that, and either that, well, from your side, that vessel would require a helicopter to provide that transport to and from the vessel, unless they had smaller tenders and stuff that could get you ashore. That could be the easiest process, really.
Okay. So right now, the expedition is looking to be a little more science-based to comply with
Yep.
ASPA regulations. So for,
Yep.
if, our team is lucky enough to get permit approval into ASPA Zone 172, I believe,
Yep.
from the email exchanges I had with Jean Preston at the U.S. Department of State, she was talking about it would generally be something around like 7 to 10 days camping and things of this nature. So that would just generally be the goals of the expedition as far as that's concerned. And
Yep.
so for as far as the ship aspect of things, if that ends up being the mode of transportation, you said some potential options for that, or also because I know the icebreakers. I don't know what month they go down there exactly to
Yep.
actually open up the shelf or
Open it up.
whatever, and
Yeah.
so would that be November or December? Because I feel like it's pretty cold down there, and they have to. I'm not sure which month exactly they can get it broken up by.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I think that, yeah, we can kind of look into that a wee bit. Yeah, so short answer, yes. I got a couple of ideas. Well, I can get a couple of names of different ships that operate out of New Zealand that go down there regularly, or as an option, and see what, like, yeah, I'd say those guys would be the ones that would have an understanding of what that is like down there, getting down there. Yeah, and then I suppose it's just that conversation whether or not either they already have a helicopter attached to their ship, which would obviously partly make your application process easier, because that would be one loop. If they didn't have a helicopter but have the option for that, then obviously we can certainly support that and provide that and take care of that and apply through that process to sort that out. Or the third option, I suppose, is doing away with the helicopter if that ship had, plausibly their captain or the organization had other options to get you ashore for your period of time in the dry valleys, which I would assume would be hard. I don't. Yeah.
So you could possibly look into some options as far as referring me to those ship companies and
Definitely.
yeah. So I mean, it's quite a big undertaking. Most people think, oh yeah. I mean, there's many layers of regulations logistically, and also, I mean, yes, it's a big undertaking, and I'm really just trying to, even though it's March now, and potentially, like hypothetically, we go down there December or January. I feel like still I'm trying to. Every day I'm doing lots of research and lots of prep as far as figuring out exactly how this is going to work out, because I really don't want to be unprepared as far as this is concerned and all that. So, I mean,
No, for sure.
it's definitely not just a typical trip, so to speak. So,
No.
definitely like any help that you can help provide as far as, that goes. And,
Yep.
you know, but yeah, it does seem like it's a big deal as far as like flying down there, from because I had been researching that a lot too, and the only options I was seeing was the C-17s for through the
Yep.
national program. So that's why that was part of my confusion too, because it seems like yeah, that those options are limited to the kind of military Air Force type craft.
Yeah, I think it's just the challenge around that is that the airfield is operated by the US program, and then obviously the intent of the Antarctic Treaty for all of that stuff down there is for not for privatization, and and that they kind of closely control that. So one method they can control that is say no private operations on their airfield, and that puts a stop to everyone just chartering jets and flying down there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's not completely out of the option either. It is still technically
No, I
possible.
don't think it. Yeah, yeah. I think it's plausible. Whether I don't think it's plausible for us in the time frame. I think that's a reality from our side. And then I wouldn't. I don't. There's no one else in New Zealand that operates something that would go down there. Or there's other operators of jets, but we're the only ones currently in conversations with the US program, looking at options on that medevac
Mm.
side of things. Um, so yeah, one name that came up, which I can track down. Try. I don't know if I've got a contact name, but is Heritage Tours, Heritage Expeditions. Sorry, they're an organisation out of New Zealand that uh, conduct expeditions to Antarctica and basically go as far as Ross Island. Um, and it is a expedition tour type thing, but they could be a point of contact as far as some ideas around vessel options. Um,
Mm. I mean,
could be
I've been
someone.
looking. I looked into this a little bit actually when I was in the earliest stages of researching some of the, travel options, going through providers such as Adventure Life or Ocean Wide Expeditions. And, from what I've understood since around 2016, for some reason, like there's been more of a, kind of less advertisement or options for, packages to the Ross Sea region or helicopters to the dry valleys. It seems like there's been
Yeah,
a little bit of a like symbolic media sort of not as many I mean, not many of the owner operators or package dealers have been because I called Ocean Wide Expeditions. I think it was back in early September, and they had told me, well, of course we don't offer that anymore. And then Ocean Wide Expeditions also told me, well, we don't offer Ross Sea expeditions anymore aboard the Ortelius and things of this nature. But I did see that there were still a
yeah,
couple options for like what you just mentioned, Heritage, which is more of
yeah.
like a traditional tourism type of ship. So,
Correct.
but
Yeah,
but I wouldn't be sure if they offer helicopters to the dry valleys. That's the thing, is that I wasn't sure if I
yeah.
saw them offering.
I'm just trying to. I've got one. So I've got a friend who was flying on a ship that did go to Antarctica. I'll give him a bell once we jump off this call and see if he's got obviously their organisation, them that did those trips, um, and see if he's got any thoughts around options there. Um, yeah. So there is this organisation, Secret Atlas. Have you seen them?
I don't think I've seen them. I've heard of
Uh,
Heritage, but
so
not that one.
Yeah, so Secret Atlas, they basically, as far as I understand it, they are private ships, and they're only like I think they're you know up to 10 to 15 guests on the ship, and that's it, right? They are charter vessels. Um, yeah, secretatlas.com is their website. Um,
Secret Atlas. Okay. Secretatlas.com.
yeah, um, so that again could be one option, or someone, at least someone that they may have an idea of, if not their vessel, other options. And looking at their vessels on their photos, none of them seem to have heli decks on them. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
because this was the thing that I had been looking into during my early stages of research, was that the main, well, pretty much like 2017 and pre 2017, the main ship that would go down there and offer helicopter service into the dry valleys for tour operators to, the Taylor visitor zone area was aboard the Ortelius, I believe, because because they were offering these packages, like, for example, 33-day crews and stuff like that aboard the ice breaking that is an ice breaking vessel.
Yep.
So that was the main option was looking when I was researching traditional tour operators. But
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
so it seems like the ship isn't the main. It's going to be seen if a ship provides helicopter service, helicopter support as well aboard the ship,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
I just found this one. Can I send it to you? These guys do seem to provide all-in-one option. That the large vessel, but they do have a heli deck on there. Could be an option.
Okay, checking my inbox.
I just sent it in the chat on Teams.
Oh, the chat. Okay, let me
just on Teams. Yeah.
Okay, chat. Okay. All right. So this one would potentially fit our team's objective here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've seen this one before.
Yeah. So just reading, like, obviously this would the Ultramarine. It has 2 helicopters on it by the reading of the stuff. So that would certainly sort of take care of that side of things. I think just the question with those guys would be around, specifically where you want to go and how that would work, whether that works in and around their schedule or what, I suppose what that costs, right? And what that could look like for you.
Interesting. But this one here is like more of a traditional type of cruise ship. So if the if the ship makes it to the Ross Sea and all that, and our goals for the expedition are scientific based as far as the camping would be 7 to 10 days or something like this potentially. Yeah, I wonder how that would work because the ship, they usually don't spend that much time around Ross Sea, do they? It's usually just a day or two, and then they embark or however that is to the next location for their tour.
Yeah, correct. And I mean, depending on your timeline, that whether they do a couple of trips, are they I don't know, mate. Like you might have to have a look at what they do, whether or not you go down and then you disappear for your week or so, and then in a week to 10 days they're back on another trip and you're getting picked up then. I'm not too sure. The other one that I've just found that this is, I'm pretty sure this is the one that I had a mate working on is scenicnz.com. And I'll send that as well. Just sent that in the Teams chat as well.
Okay.
Again, it's a similar product as you're saying. It's a charter type thing, or sorry, a crew, a standard cruise type operation. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely look into those options there.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, you're really looking at trying to find a vessel that is obviously certified or certified to go to Antarctica, that has a heli deck on it that you can get a helicopter to land on.
And GCH would GCH work through the operating vessel to provide the helicopter service?
Yeah, so yeah, that's definitely an option, right? So I think either that'll kind of go one of 3 ways. I think either the vessel that you we track and you find either already has a helicopter on it, right, and that operates with that vessel, and fine. The other thing could be that they don't always have a helicopter on it, but they have an operator that they've historically worked with, or
Mm,
previously worked with somewhere, and they have that relationship, and that might be the option. Or they have no real preference, and they're happy for you to source an aircraft that meets your needs
mm.
um, to come on board.
And taking a helicopter into the dry valleys, is it a
Yep.
bit different as far as like the type of helicopter? Because I think from what I've seen, the conditions are pretty they can be a little more extreme than typical helicopter landing sites in Antarctica.
Yeah, like again, I don't think that's too much of a concern. Like if you're anyone who would provide an aircraft, whether that be us or anyone, should be providing you an aircraft that is capable of doing that. Yeah. So we would provide the same aircraft that is currently operated by the US and the New Zealand program in Antarctica.
Mm, like
Yeah.
yeah, something like a Bell 412, I think it is, or
So I don't think I don't think you'd operate. You don't need something that big. So they've also operate what's called an A Star. Uh,
mm,
an AS350 A Star Eurocopter, sometimes they're called, or they're currently, well, a few years ago, they were purchased by Airbus. So an
mm,
Airbus H125 would be the logical. It's the same. The Italians operate them, the Americans operate a couple of them, New Zealand Kiwis, we operate them down there. Up until recently, the Australian program has operated them down there. They've just moved to a twin engine version, a bigger aircraft, the Australians. Uh, but yeah, that we would provide like for like. And as I said, I would imagine any other organisation would provide something similar
mm,
that would seat, depending on weights and stuff, 4 to 5 passengers at a
mm,
time. So, if for the size of your party, I think that would be fine. You may do a couple of trips from the vessel to and from with equipment and bits and pieces, but
mm. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm still in the early stages of figuring all this out, though. So yeah,
yeah,
but it looks like as of right now, the probability wise, the most likely option is going to be needing to look into these like pretty much catching a ride on one of these ships down there, as far as whatever is going to be available with helicopter support.
yeah. I think so, to be honest, mate. I think that would be the logical option. Uh,
And as far as the cost of, does that change the cost in any way? Because I've still been seeing kind of like a pretty wide range of as far as how much it's going to cost to get down there via versus like chartering a jet or
yeah.
taking a ship. Would this be, you think, a cheaper option
I
or?
I think so. I think the chunk, like, I think realistically it would be cheaper, right? If you're tied into an existing trip, you're only paying for the number of people going on that vessel rather than paying for the entire vessel.
Mm,
I think the challenge you might face there is just you are tied to their schedule, um, and that could work out just fine, or that could create some challenges for you.
mm,
Um, yeah, and I don't know, Matt. I'm just ideas whether or not depending on timelines and where they go, you can almost get dropped down by one vessel and then picked up by someone else on the way back. You know what I mean? Like as far as their
mm.
routes that they take, that could be a few phone calls and emails with those guys.
Mm.
Um, yeah,
So as of right now, the best option would be to possibly contact these two providers, Quark Expeditions and Scenic NZ.
yeah. I think that'd be a good starting point to say, hey, obviously what you're trying to achieve is it, and they may go, hey, no, that's not really something we can support, but
Mm.
they also may go point you in another direction. Uh,
And you
yeah,
mentioned Secret Atlas, but potentially too.
yeah, I think that I think the advantage of them, they have, from memory, they have small vessels, uh, that could provide more, specifically what you need as far as chartering it.
Because right now
Yeah,
I'm working with Hawkeye Dynamics for training as far as that
yep,
goes. So I'm going to be arriving in Christchurch around July to begin the
yep,
training part of, you know, as far as that goes. So
yeah,
yeah, so definitely a ship that can leave from New Zealand is going to be ideal because I'm going to be,
totally.
in New Zealand for at least, around, uh, I'd say like 5 to 6 months, it would seem.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I think it's worth reaching out to Secret Atlas and having a chat to them um, about their options. They don't seem to have helicopter options, but they may, again, be an idea. They do have a whole section on here around um, specifically for charters for research trips to the polar regions, um, which is obviously, as far as the angle goes with the US program, that could be it.
In that case, though, if they were to offer that, I would have to pretty much rent out the entire ship just for our own expedition team. Is that
Yeah, but
correct?
again, it'd be interesting to see. Like, instead, I can get you some rough numbers on a jet, but potentially, it might be a similar, if not cheaper, price point for that sort of all-in-one. With obviously a ship runs a whole lot cheaper than a jet, as far as a day-to-day running costs, I would assume.
Yes, from what I understand, chartering a private jet can get quite expensive into the tens of thousands of dollars range, if I'm not mistaken. So that
Yeah,
was
and
that was a
especially,
little,
something down there could be even more, right?
yeah. And I was thinking about this, and it was trying to definitely trying to work around the financial aspect of it too, figure out
Sure.
what's absolutely going to be the best option, not just for approval from the US program and everything like that to be compliant with the treaty system and everything, but also figuring out what's uh, financially going to be the best
Of
option
course.
too. So I mean, if it's something that could reduce the cost by a third or a half or something like that, I mean,
Of
that'd
course.
be great too.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think there's a few options here for you. Well, I'll just put that one in there. The one I was just looking at as far as their private charter option for Secret Atlas, but yeah, possibly a starting point.
Okay, so and because these ships are presumably going to need time for the icebreakers to go down there to clear the way, would you say it would most likely be December or January versus November?
Possibly, yeah. Uh, yeah. Just saying when these. Mm, yeah, and saying that there is saying looking at options down for Antarctic trips from about the 20th of November.
Okay, so
Um,
right around that. And the ship, does it leave from Bluff, New Zealand, or something like that?
that is a good question. I would have to try and figure that out. I haven't seen where they leave from, but quite often that is where they leave from. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I
Yeah.
haven't. I've been just thinking because I mean, I've just been focusing on Christchurch and everything like that, and
Yep.
thinking, okay, what are the potential jet options too? Because it was kind of stressing me out, thinking, oh yes, these C-17s go down there. How am I going to get down there as a
Yeah. Yeah.
private,
Yeah.
expedition group? as a private expedition group. So
Yeah.
yeah, this definitely, I will need to research the details of this a bit more, because this opens a new I think amount of things to look into regarding, transportation and all that. So yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
I'll do some digging and I'll phone my mate who did some flying on a ship down there, um, and see what I can find out, and flick you through in an email what I do come up with.
okay, and I will get back to with the U.S. State Department as far as some of the options that we went over, or potential for even like it seems like the approval for chartering a private jet is like not that good potentially, and also financially and bureaucracy wise, that's looking to be far less likely to be the best option from, I think,
Yeah,
everything we've
I
kind
would
of
say
gone
so.
over.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. If I see anything, I'll send stuff through that I can find.
Okay. Um, so and you're going to look into options for ships, and for the purposes of this call, do you think we
Yeah.
have gone over everything for that is needed as of right now, you believe, or
Yeah. I think, yeah, as I said, realistically, mate, I think the easiest option is going to be a vessel down there, and just a matter of finding out who and where, and obviously some costs around that, as you say, to get a bit of an indication there. Yeah, I think that's probably the logical and best step.
mm, if you can find me other options as well through
Yep.
potential contacts as well, I mean, we would greatly appreciate that as well.
Yep.
You know, um, I'm going to actually begin researching this in the coming days too, and yeah, if you can just get back to me whenever
Of
you
course.
have the time and you figure out that information on your end. So
Yep.
I do just want to say that I greatly appreciate you helping our team with this, and sharing your time and
No
knowledge and
problems.
everything else. I mean, this is definitely not a small endeavor by any means, and
No.
it's not like, oh,
It's okay.
yeah, it's not just your typical type of trip anyhow, symbolically. So
Well worth it though. Well worth it.
oh, for sure, it's definitely uh, gonna be. It's been a dream for sure. It's a dream for
Yeah.
sure. So um,
Fantastic.
as far as the call goes, though, I think I'll let you go for now, or we
No
can
problems. Yep.
catch up at a later time here when we get more
Yeah.
details.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Talk to you
Perfect.
soon, Dan. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Talk later.